Okay, let's start the meeting of the Bridges and Tunnels for May. I am sitting in for our normal chairman for today. Let's start with public comments. Are there any public comments?
We have one public speaker, Mr. Bowden.
Okay. Good morning, Murray. How are you?
Matter of fact, excellent. This was at my grandson's graduation, and it was wonderful.
Congratulations.
This next generation is spectacular. I couldn't believe how open, what they talked about, what was said on that platform could not have been said 5 years ago. The openness, what these kids do, spectacular. I was just amazed at it. But what I want to talk about this morning is what I heard at the last meeting. Andy Byford said he's going to Plattsburgh to walk around on the floor. I know what he's talking about. I've done it many, many times. When you walk around on the floor of any factory and you talk to the people, you find out what's going on really. He said they know I'm coming, but they can't stop me from talking to the individuals. And, you know, it may be private conversations not repeated, but that's the only way you find out what's going on. That reflects on Bridges and Tunnels a lot because I've been asking to meet at the Whitestone Bridge with your representatives, which is pretty much the same as Andy meeting on the floor where they make the railroad cars, because problems get solved and brought out on the floor and at the bridge itself. That never gets solved in meetings like this or in reports. It takes being on the ground. I'm prepared to meet your representatives at the Whitestone Bridge exit, anytime, any place, past time. The responsibility is this committee's to see that it happens.
Thank you very much. If there are no other public speakers, we will hold on the approval of the minutes until our fourth member comes in. Why don't we go to, is there any change to the work plan?
No changes.
There's no change to the work plan, so you're up.
Yep, I got one quick thing. I'd like to say good morning. I'm not used to saying that.
That's right.
Good afternoon. So just one comment I would have is with regard to the area of safety. And so for the first time since B&T started reporting the 12-month average customer collision rate in 2016, there is an improvement in its total collision rate compared to the previous 12 months. This performance improvement is the result of a team effort that combines technical analysis with operating experience. This is a milestone on our path of continuous performance improvement, and we will continue to evolve our approach to meet current and future customer safety challenges. So with that, I turn it over to you, sir.
Okay. Operations?
Yes, good morning.
Good morning.
That is strange to say.
Sometimes I thought we said good evening sometimes, but good morning today. Yes, go ahead.
The report on operations begins on page 19. The following is a summary of March 2018 traffic changes compared to March 2017. Total paid traffic increased by 4.4%. Passenger car traffic increased by 4.6%. Other traffic increased by 1.2%. Preliminary monthly traffic figures for April 2018 are 4.6% higher than in the same period of 2017. Our continued focus on collision mitigation efforts, coupled with the cashless tolling improvements, continue to help safety performance at all bridge and tunnel facilities. In March, the overall bridge and tunnel collision rate decreased to 6.4 per million vehicles versus 7.61 for the same month last year, a 15.9% improvement. This is the sixth consecutive month of year-over-year improvements in B&T's collision rate. For March, our officers have issued a total of 9.8% more summonses when compared to March of 2017, with the largest increase in unsafe lane change and failure to signal violations. This information is found on page 37 of your B&T committee report. For April, to further support customer safety improvements, B&T participated in April's National Safety Council's Distracted Driving Awareness Month. Messages to increase awareness of distracted driving risks were displayed on B&T variable message signs, and Bridge and Tunnel officers focused on distracted driving enforcement. Notably, the improper cell phone usage. From April 12th to April 30th, Bridge Tunnel officers increased the number of cell phone summonses issued by 41.6%. In May, earlier this month, the 41st annual TD Five-Borough Bike Tour took place on Sunday, May 6th. Over 32,000 cyclists registered for this event. The Verrazano Narrows Bridge served as part of the final leg of this 40-mile ride, with cyclists traveling over the Staten Island-bound lower level into Fort Wadsworth. MTA Bridge Tunnel employees work closely with event organizers and other agencies to facilitate a safe and enjoyable event for all. This ends the report on operations.
Any questions on operations? It continues to interest that our numbers go up every month, and every month and every month. It's amazing how that. I'll be interested to see whether the increase in gas prices, which they say is coming, is going to have an effect in that regard. But very interesting. Okay, safety.
The report presents 12-month rolling averages comparing year-over-year performance for key safety indicators. As previously mentioned, 6 consecutive months of year-over-year customer collision rate improvements have resulted in a lower average collision rate for the 12 months ending in March than in the previous 12 months. The collisions with injury rate for the past 12 months is slightly higher than the rate for the previous 12 months. Preliminary collision data for April 2018 indicates an improvement in both customer safety indicators compared to the same period in 2017. The employee lost time injury rate for the 12 months ending March 2018 decreased to 7.2 injuries per 200,000 work hours from the 7.8 rate reported last month, and is lower than the rate of 7.5 the previous 12 months ending March of 2017. As mentioned during the last committee meeting, we are monitoring a potential emerging trend of employee injuries associated with the use of vehicles. We are closely monitoring safety data in the cashless tolling environment and will institute controls to address hazards associated with any emerging trend in employee safety. The contractor lost time injury rate of 1.45 per 200,000 work hours for the 12 months ending March 2018 is lower than the rate of 1.72 for the same period ending March of 2017, and is slightly higher than the 1.43 rate reported last month for the 12 months ending February 2018. And that concludes the safety report.
Any questions or comments on safety? It's interesting context where before our employees knew that everybody was going to slow down and stop. Now, nobody slows down and stops. And how that changes the nature of the relationship around the former toll booths area. We know what we mean, because now nobody stops, or at least we don't want anybody to stop, and how that affects our own vehicles and our own employees. It's an interesting question in that regard, because the nature of the I don't want to use the word confrontation, the nature of the relationship has changed in that regard, in that area. Very interesting.
Absolutely.
Okay. Customer Environment Survey.
B&T, the Customer Environment Survey begins on page 38, and highlights for the first quarter are: B&T continues its collision mitigation efforts and state of good repair program with 62,809 linear feet of striping completed in the first quarter of 2018. There were 2,153 potholes repaired in the first quarter of 2018 as compared to 1,109 for the same period in 2017. The nearly double amount of potholes repaired resulted from the large temperature swings and freeze-thaw cycles experienced this winter. B&T's repaving program this season will address many of these areas with a longer-term fix. In the first quarter, over 95% of lighting was in service, as compared to 91.5% in the same period in 2017. 76% of the lighting is now LED, up from 29% in the first quarter of 2017. Post-ORT peak period travel time improved by as much as 32% at the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, with improvements across all facilities averaging 16.2% in the first quarter of 2018. With respect to customer safety, in the first quarter of 2018 compared to the same period in 2017, B&T improved its total collision rate by 21% and its collision with injury rate by 22%. This ends the customer environment report.
Veronica?
If I understand correctly regarding the pothole increase, that it's because they were significantly more, not because our response time
No,
has
that's
increased.
right.
Okay.
Yeah.
And those are areas we're now going to look at in relation
To
to
repave.
trying to eliminate the pothole problem
That's
in that
correct.
regard by repaving the
Because
areas.
sometimes during the winter, the repair, you may have to go back 2 or 3 times.
Right.
For the same, it could be pouring rain out. We have to jump on it for safety.
Right. Now we get an opportunity to look at it
Correct.
in the context of what it is. Right. Okay, good, good. Okay, cashless tolling?
Yes, hello. The March 2018 report on cashless tolling begins on page 48. March highlights are on pages 49 and 50 and include our overall EasyPass market share, which is at 94.9%, up 6.7% than the year before. Our revenue collection rates by facility through March 2018 are shown on table 6 on page 53. As of March, all the facilities that went live with ORT through August 2017 are showing collection rates above 100% when tolls and fees are considered, with the exception of the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, which is still at 98.6%. However, in total, the combined collection rate for all facilities that went live through September 2017 is 102.1%. Next month, at the June committee meeting, we will be reporting on revenue collection performance for the Throgs Neck and the Bronx Whitestone facilities, since they will be reaching the 6-month mark, and that allows for the complete billing and collection cycles to mature. The next item we would like to report on is the Enhanced Customer Service Center performance metrics, which includes both EasyPass and Tolls by Mail program metrics. Highlights are presented on page 50. If you recall from previous meetings, we have been focusing our attention on call waiting times at the Customer Service Center. After a few months of substandard performance for this particular activity, you will note on page 54, table 7, that the call waiting times are now at acceptable levels and well within the contractual standard of 45 seconds. Last month, we also reported on customer outreach efforts to help our customers better understand their responsibilities within our new cashless tolling environment. We launched an information campaign and started seeing positive results. For example, we are seeing customer complaints about violations for the most recent 4-week period. They're 37% lower than 2 months ago. In response to our outreach efforts for mobile alerts, 45,000 customers have signed up for the alerts since March. The alerts help the customers know when their balances are low and of other account issues. We are also partnering with local community representatives to help their constituents better understand resident program benefits, eligibility, enrollment, and plan requirements. Last week, we began mailing our letters to Rockaway resident program members, reminding them that they need to maintain a valid EasyPass account to receive program benefits. And we also continue to resolve customer issues on a case-by-case basis. This concludes the report on cashless tolling. Yep.
Any questions? Yeah, I'll be very interested to see the Throgs Neck and Whitestone numbers next month.
They're looking really good.
Good.
They're trending right at what we expect them to be.
Good.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Excellent. Excellent. Financial report?
Okay. The financial report for March begins on page 56. We are comparing results against the adopted budget. Total revenue year-to-date in March was $441.1 million, which is 3.1% or $13.3 million better than budget. Traffic year-to-date in March was 72.1 million crossings, up against budget by 4% or 2.8 million crossings. Preliminary numbers for April indicate that traffic is at 26.5 million vehicles, 5.1% higher than forecast. Preliminary toll revenue for April is $161.8 million, which is $5.2 million or 3.3% above budget. Total expenses were $122.6 million through March, which is about $14.8 million or 10.8% lower than planned. Our support to mass transit was $252.9 million in March, which is $34.3 million or 15.7% better than planned. This includes the financial report for March.
All of us are tremendously appreciative that somebody around here actually makes money. And it's up to bridges and tunnels to make up for all the other shortfalls in that context. And they're doing a very good job of it in that regard. So any other questions on the finances? Okay, I'll be interested to see that in July that'll be the interesting showcase.
That's right.
At that time. Okay, capital program.
Report on the capital program begins on page 70. E&T is on track to meet its 2018 goals for capital commitments and project completions. In April, we awarded 10 commitments totaling $12.1 million compared to a 2018 plan calling for 10 commitments at $9.8 million. Year to date, 36 commitments were awarded for $32.5 million versus 23 planned commitments totaling $25.6 million. In April, there was one project completion for the replacement of sandy damaged electrical equipment at the Marine Parkway and Cross Bay bridges totaling $32 million. This mainly FEMA-funded design-build project relocated an elevated critical electrical substations and switchgear to a FEMA 500-year flood elevation. Year-to-date, $409.6 million, or 105% of the 2018 year-to-date goal of $390.9 million in completions have occurred. There were 5 closeouts in April for $32.4 million, 25 closeouts year-to-date totaling $47.1 million. Unless there are any questions, that concludes the report.
Any questions on any of the capital projects? Okay. Let's do procurements. We'll do them and we'll go from there. Put the normal disclaimer on the minutes as we go forward, as we always do when we don't have a quorum, but let's go through them anyway. Procurements.
Procurements start on page 78. There are no non-competitive procurements or ratifications. There are 5 competitive procurement actions this month. There are 2 competitively solicited personal service contract awards. The first one is for construction administration and inspection for project VN10, the rehabilitation of the anchorages at the Verrazano Narrows Bridge, the negotiated amount of $3.36 million. The second one, also at the Verrazano, is for biennial bridge inspections of the main span and a negotiated amount of $3.14 million. There are 2 personal service contract modifications. The first one is at the RFK Bridge for design services for miscellaneous structural repairs and a negotiated amount of $4.29 million. The second one is to add construction support services for project VN10 and a negotiated amount of $872,000. Lastly, there is a public work modification associated with the demolition of the occupied spaces beneath the Manhattan Plaza at the RFK Bridge and negotiated amount of $2.53 million. The total amount committed for these actions is $14.19 million. Unless there are any questions, these procurements are described in detail in the enclosed staff summaries.
Any questions on any of the procurements? If not, I'll make a motion to approve. Second, all in favor? Aye. Diversity report.
Thank you. MTA Bridges and Tunnel first quarter diversity report begins on page 90. The workforce data, new hires, EEO complaints, and dispositions are summarized as follows. Bridges and Tunnels overall workforce is currently comprised of 1,394 employees, of which 22% are females, 55% are minorities, and 6% are veterans. The percentage of females in the workforce decreased by 1%, whereas the minorities and veterans within the workforce remain constant as compared to the first quarter of 2017. Bridges and Tunnel hired 16 employees, of which 37% were females, 75% were minorities, and 0% were veterans. Females were hired at a rate of 15% higher as compared to their representation in the workforce, and minorities were hired at a rate of 20% higher as compared to their representation in the workforce. Bridges and Tunnels EEO and Title VI complaints. There are a total of 6 EEO complaints, citing 9 separate allegations. There were 5 internal complaints, 1 external complaint. The most frequently cited basis internally was race/color, and externally was disability/retaliation, which is categorized under other. In the first quarter, Bridges and Tunnel closed out 1 EEO case in favor of the agency, and there are no reported lawsuits or Title VI complaints. If there are no questions, that concludes MTA Bridges and Tunnel Diversity Report.
Any questions on the diversity report? Okay, if not, we'll just go back and do the minutes from the April meeting. I'll make a motion to approve. Second, all in favor, and we'll put the usual disclaimer. If there's nothing else, I guess we're done, and motion to adjourn. Second, thank you all very much.